Hello my fellow friends and followers, it's me Retromania, and in today's video we are talking about JRPGs I tried to like. And with the intro out of the way, let's immediately jump to the action, starting with DioField Chronicles. What exactly did DioField Chronicles to turn me off? Well, let me first explain why was I hyped for this game in the first place. First of all, I love medieval settings and I love tactical JRPGs. The gameplay kinda reminds me of a mix of Fire Emblem with a little bit of Valkyria Chronicles, and gameplay wise maybe a little bit of Mario plus Rabbids. It's a free movement action tactical JRPG. This already sounds great, so where's the problem? Well, the problem is the story and the characters, what were very undercooked, especially the antagonists. DioField Chronicles, it's a smaller AA title from Square Enix, and I honestly expected a 10 out of 10 story and character writing. But why did I expect 10 out of 10 writing? Well, because these are the same people who made Triangle Strategy. What it's a true masterpiece. DioField Chronicles' problem is that the story doesn't focus too much on the enemy side of things. You rarely get big names, and even if you get big names in the enemy side of things, it's mostly like this duke that, this duke this. And what then? I mean, for example, in Triangle Strategy, when you get a big name drop, a big enemy name drop, you would also get a 1 hour long cutscene showing you the enemy's behavior, strategy, maybe his personality, and so on and so on. And yes, so people will find it annoying to watch a long visual novel style dialogue from the main protagonist or antagonist, but it fleshes out the characters, the world building, the story, and all dialogue it's voiced at the end of the day. DioField Chronicles tries to be like Game of Thrones, but it falls flat. Not like the end of the Game of Thrones, but like the beginning of Game of Thrones with all the betrayals, all the plot twists, world building, but it really falls flat by doing so. While for example, Triangle Strategy does exactly that and more. And it's not like DioField Chronicles don't try to be more philosophic, more push the characters to a more spotlight, even the main cast, but it's so shallow, all hollow, it's really hard to describe it if you didn't play it. If you search on YouTube all DioField Chronicles cutscenes, you get around 5.5 hour long cutscenes. While if you search all Triangle Strategy cutscenes, you get around 9.5 hour long cutscenes. In my opinion, this game should have been at least 10 hours longer, maybe even 20, to really dive deep into the story, world building and characters in DioField Chronicles. The gameplay is fun, but it also gets really repetitive over time, especially because the game has couple of broken skills, and once you get to the broken skills, you will only use these couple of skills, so it really doesn't matter that much that you have more skills, because you will only use this couple of broken ones, what it's really a shame, if you ask me. But it's still a really decent combat system, but the lack of story and depth and the characters and world building really destroys this game for me. For example, I can play a Mario 2D platformer without a good story, but DioField Chronicles really screams about an amazing story. Give me an amazing old school medieval story with betrayals, amazing villains, amazing story, world building, but it really doesn't deliver in these aspects. I'm sorry. Next we have White Knight Chronicles, a game I really tried to like, especially because this game was developed and published by Level 5. Level 5 are the same people who worked on the Ni no Kuni games, on some Dragon Quest games like Dragon Quest 8 and 9, Yokai Watch, Professor Layton, Dark Cloud, so yeah, I had really big expectations for this game from Level 5, but Level 5 was like, nope, eat some shit. Okay, this all sounds very familiar, probably because I already made a video about this topic, about this game in particular, on Chicky8's video about the most disappointing JRPGs, and I picked exactly this game as an example. So I will probably repeat myself once again, but you know what? I don't care. Well, it's a MMO JRPG exclusively made for the PlayStation 3. We all know how bad MMORPGs translate to consoles. What it's even worse, it's that this game got a single player campaign, but because most of the time went into the MMO aspect, the single player aspect felt kinda like DioField Chronicles. Very hollow, very shallow, no soul, nothing. It's hollow, it's shallow, there is nothing. The hitbox in this game is also awful. Enemies can hit you from almost any distance. Even if they use short distance attacks like punches and kicks, they can hit you from miles away, but you cannot hit them the same way. So you need to get close to hit them, but they can hit you from any distance. It's so unfair. That's what my mom told my dad after she got pregnant. And yes, I did the same joke again. Deal with it. Also yes, how I stated before and I will say it again, this is a MMORPG and using multiple skills feels so wrong. You can navigate your skills and using them with your D-pad, and honestly the D-pad does work fine, but it's not the same as using a keyboard with actual keys like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, where you can program every key to be like one skill. But it's fine, I mean, it's okay, it works I think. So it's not the same as using it with a keyboard, but it's fine I guess. The story is also not amazing, it's fine, but it's also not peak fiction. So yeah, it's more mediocre than anything. What will be fine if it was an indie developed title, but this is level 5 we are talking about. Level 5 had all the resources, manpower, time and money, and this is the result? Yikes. Next we have Final Fantasy 15. Oh yes, we are opening this Pandora's box once again. I was actually arguing between Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 15, but in the end I choose Final Fantasy 15 because I think the longer wait from the original Final Fantasy 13 Versus trailer all until the final release was insulting to me. Waiting all this time just to get a big FU was insulting to me. I hate it so much. Now why I'm so mad at Final Fantasy 15? To answer that question, we need to turn back the clock way back to the year 2006. In 2006, Square Enix announced the Fabiola Nova Crystallis Final Fantasy series. What will be a trilogy containing Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 13 Versus, and Final Fantasy Type 0. But for this video I will focus only on Final Fantasy 13. This game was officially announced over 14 years ago, and it was a more darker, serious Final Fantasy game with a more linear approach, but it fixed a lot of problems I had with Final Fantasy 13. We finally got huge cities, thousands of NPCs and a lively world to approach, even if it was a more linear game. Also the more darker, serious atmosphere made me really hyped for this game, but the final product was yikes. The game got delayed, and again delayed. The story is half-baked and the overall atmosphere and story got changed overall over time because the director Nomura got kicked out from the project entirely. I mentioned the half-baked story, but let me first elaborate on this claim by first showing you the story DLC. Yes, story DLC. Here we go. Episode Gladius, episode Prompto, episode Ignis, episode Ardi. And even though comrades, it's a multiplayer DLC, it also expands on EOS, so you should buy that one as well. So let's add comrades to the mix. But wait, there is more!
But wait! There's more!
You also need to watch the anime, movie and read the books to have a full understanding of the story and the lore of Final Fantasy 15. The story in Final Fantasy 15 is so poorly written, that Square needed to add 5 story DLCs, multiple books, movie and anime to make sense of the story inside of Final Fantasy 15. I don't know if this was a greed move to cash in and force people to spend hundreds of dollars to understand the full story of Final Fantasy 15, or if this was really just a poorly written game from the very beginning. But comparing the original Final Fantasy 13 Versus trailer with the final product just makes me sad. It just makes me sad. What I also don't like in Final Fantasy 15 it's the very simplistic combat system. If you really want to go action, go deep action. Something like a Scarlet Nexus, JRPG Chronicles or Final Fantasy 16. But it's in my opinion not perfect, but far better than Final Fantasy 15's combat system. What else can I say? It's just It's not terrible, but it hurts, considering its potential. But well, what can you do? And yeah guys and girls, this was my video about JRPGs what I tried to like but couldn't, for reasons I mentioned before. Do you agree with my opinion or do you disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. And with this out of the way, I wish you all a wonderful day. Sayonara my good old JRPG friends. Bye, and ciao.